We've all been programmed to see life and live a certain way, whether we believe it or not. Our upbringing and life experiences have shaped who we have become. For some, that's a good thing, and for some others, it's not so good. Our parents, the adults around us, our teachers in school, our pastors in church, all kinds of influences come from different places. And so, the adults in our lives, parents, like I said, and every other person, have helped to raise us. And they raised us on certain values. They've given us some belief systems that they believed were good for us. Ultimately, we developed certain belief systems that have helped us to survive, that have helped us to make decisions, and those have formed our worldviews. If the adult influence you had growing up has been beneficial and has landed you in a good place, I say congratulations. But if the other side, if the opposite is the case with you, well, don't be so sad about it, because it's not all doom and gloom. We have this tendency to feel, oh yeah, where I am now is the fault of my parents. Where I am now is because of what I was raised on. Where I am now is because of the school I went to, the church I went to, the people that have influenced me. Yeah, that may be the case, but it's not all doom and gloom. Now, when I say programmed, please get me right. It is not meant in a negative way. And I'm not saying you're programmed to behave like a robot. No. I'm not talking about a scientist somewhere that has put a microchip in your brain and is controlling you and remotely telling you what to do, how to behave. That is not the kind of programming that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the things that we have imbibed, the lessons that we have learned, and all the experiences that we've had. For some people, regrettably and unfortunately, especially for those who grew up in a very abusive environment, you have been loaded with so much negativity that you don't even see anything positive about life. But the other side of that are people who all they've had has been positive reinforcement, where people tell them, you're good, you're nice, you're doing well, you have prospects, you're talented, you're brilliant. And there are people who have had a bit of both. You have people who that this person is always very abusive towards me, and that person always gives me positive reinforcement. So everybody's story is never the same. But let's come back to the main issue, which is how we have been programmed to see life. See, the adults that helped us in shaping our lives, they meant well. I don't believe your parents will give you instructions that were not good for you. So you have learned a lot from them, you're still learning. So now, where we are now, if it is a good place, congratulations, like I said. If it's not a good place, we can still both move forward. So how do we right the ship of our lives now that we know that we were fed with things that have malnourished us or that have stunted our growth? That is, if that is your story. The way to move forward is to learn, to unlearn, and relearn. You learn, you unlearn, and you relearn. What we've learned have brought us this far, and we're still learning. But we may need to unlearn certain things in order for us to relearn certain things. And that's what I'm going to go through very quickly. Now, you have to be careful when it comes to learning, because knowledge can become an impediment to learning. In other words, what you know already might stand in the way of what you could learn going forward. You could say, yeah, my life is good. The things that I was raised on, everything is perfect. So I don't need to learn any other thing. I'm good the way I am. But what you're doing is that you're allowing the knowledge that you have to stand in the way of new learning. And you don't want to do that. So for all of us, we have to learn, we have to unlearn, and we have to relearn. Now there are 6 steps, but not exclusive. I'll run through them quickly. The first step to this process is to accept that you have been programmed to see life and to live life a certain way. Don't be in denial. Don't be defensive about it. We all have, either good or bad. So you have to come to terms with that. That is not a bad thing. that you have been programmed to see life and to live life a certain way. The second thing is you have to summon the courage to question what you've been programmed to believe. Regardless of who has had that influence on you, you are allowed, you should feel free to question those things, because what was relevant then may not be relevant now. The third thing is to review your belief systems. What do I mean? You review your belief systems and your worldview to see if it is hurting you or if it is helping you or harming people around you. Note those three things. Is it hurting you? Is it helping you? Or is it harming the people that are around you? Number 4, you filter them through what you now know. Because what you didn't know then, you didn't know. So people who knew made decisions, they had influences on you. Now that you know what you know, you filter your worldview and your belief systems through what you now know. So if those belief systems are still relevant today, if they're still helpful, you retain them. If they cannot be applied today anymore, let them go. If there is a way that you can review them to apply them in the knowledge of today, by all means, keep them. So now in that process, you're unlearning the things that you've learned. Now you move to the next step, where you have to be bold and courageous enough to strip the layers of whatever it is you have believed. What I mean is, you strip the layers off, you see, this is not helping me until I get to the core of that belief. Whatever it is that is extraneous, whatever it is that is confusing, I'm stripping it off. That place is the place of unlearning. You're stripping off what is no longer relevant, you're retaining the good things. Finally, you examine all of these things critically from an informed position now, because you now know better than you knew then. So you are at an informed position and you should be able to tell what is good, what is not, what is new, what is old, what is relevant, what is no longer relevant. In that process, you are relearning. So the things that you knew back then that are still relevant today, you would update them with the realities of today and you relearn them and you begin to apply. So, whatever it is you do, however you choose to live, rule your world with good thoughts and brilliant ideas.